Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moody.
And I'm Wajahat Ali, and I am in Virginia, close to D.C., where there is that trite but reliable saying that you can walk and chew gum at the same time. And I believe Danielle and I can do the same thing. We can talk about all the multiple failures of the Trump administration and focus on Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, it's amazing. Nancy Pelosi doesn't think that we can do it, but I think that you and I and everyone in independent media who is on the progressive side of things does multiple things at one time. But
can you tell people why you just mentioned Nancy Pelosi? Because I don't, there's so much news. I think people might have missed her interview yesterday
on MSNBC. So wait, I think I may have it. Hold on. So here's the thing, and I played this yesterday on the Danielle Moody show. I was really pissed off because Nancy Pelosi goes on MSNBC and she's asked by what is her name? Chris. Why, what do you think about the Epstein files, this, that, and the other thing? And how can Democrats use this moment? And she says she thinks it's a distraction. Listen, just take a listen, folks, because I was outdone yesterday on the Danielle Moody show, outdone, I fucking rate.
You know too well, the power of conspiracy theories. Your husband was attacked by a man who'd fallen for them. Right. Is it your sense there's anything the president can do now to get his supporters to move off of the Epstein issue? Should he? Where do you land on this?
Again, this is a distraction. We have major issues right here with things we're voting on today in the Congress, again, in terms of the rescission that the president and the Senate have sent back over us to cut all of these resources out of helping poor people throughout the world, to America play its leadership role in soft power to keep us safe and to keep us healthy, so that viruses know no boundary. And instead, we're talking about this thing, and his own basis has its own views of what the president should do. I'll leave it up to them to talk it out.
What have we been saying since late last week, Waj? We've been talking about this since late last week, and we've been saying, you know what? This is not the end of MAGA. It may not even be the beginning of the end, but what is it? It is a fissure. It is a fracture that you should absolutely try and use to your advantage. I said yesterday, when you see a fracture inside of MAGA, if you don't get a fucking crowbar and pry that shit open the best way that you can, then you're not doing your job. Nope. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can see that this has caught the media's attention. You can see that his base is livid about it, and you can use it as your entry point into talking about the issues that you want to talk and the destruction that he is doing. It's not rocket science.
But you have to be built for this fight. And they're not built for this fight. And they're not made for this moment. I was talking to Lev Parnas yesterday, and Lev is taking he doesn't want to criticize Democrats. He wants unity. So I said, I'll do it for you. Look, these people did good work back in the day. This is not about old as it comes to age. This I say old as a pejorative when it comes to thinking as a strategy. These folks, people like Pelosi and others, and even Biden, are built for the 20th century. They're a 20th century war machine where they can go and drink some rum and brandy, whatever people drink. I don't drink. And have a cigar and pat people on the back and go do their Brazilian blowouts and, hee hee ha ha, go to Martha Vineyard and make some deals, right? This isn't that type of ball game. MAGA isn't like the Mitch McConnells. They hate Mitch McConnell. They hate Mitt Romney. They hate John McCain. They hate Liz Cheney. MAGA is Laura Loomer. MAGA is Marjorie Taylor Greene. MAGA is Nick Fuentes, the Nazi. MAGA is a bunch of violent insurrectionists who are hunting Mike Pence in the halls of the Capitol. MAGA believes in QAnon. MAGA is perfectly fine pardoning violent insurrectionists. MAGA is perfectly fine wanting a king and saying, see you later, democracy. This is who we are fighting. Democrats still bring a pencil to a knife fight, and MAGA brings a bazooka. And so when I heard that, for me, Danielle, I've been inching closer and closer. I said, retire. Nancy Pelosi, retire. Any Democrat who thinks like this, you're wealthy, you're rich, you made a lot of money, you got a lot of stocks. Go to Florida, go to New York, go to the Hamptons, go to the Bay Area.
Go wherever you want, but don't go to the
space.
floor. Don't go to the floor of the fucking house.
Yeah,
on crutches or in a
launch
wheelchair.
yourself into the sun. Go underground. Maybe it's time to die. Maybe it's time to die.
I don't care.
I mean, Danielle, how can you look at what's happening right now? The massive fissure, the fact that Epstein is the kryptonite. Nothing else has worked. Donald Trump held liable for rape. Donald Trump, criminal. Meh. Donald Trump helps kill so many Americans by lying to us during COVID. Meh. Donald Trump tanking the economy in 6 months. Donald Trump, literally with the BBB being disastrous. Donald Trump unleashing friggin' ICE to terrorize Americans. Epstein is the one. Led by MAGA. This is important, folks. I know people might not like hearing this. It's not the Democrats. It ain't the institutions. It was MAGA that has led this kryptonite spear against their king. And slowly the institutions now and Democrats have jumped on it, some of them. And despite all that, Nancy Pelosi comes out and says, this is a distraction. Nancy, God bless you.
You're a distraction.
I appreciate it. You're a distraction. Retire. Retire.
You're a distraction. I'm outdone. Yesterday on my evening show, I went through the way in which Ron Wyden, who is Senator Ron Wyden, the highest ranking Democrat on Senate Finance Committee, went through the fact that for 3 years, he's been looking into the finances of Epstein, finding out that guess what the banks didn't do until after he was arrested. When he's arrested, then they offer up to the feds, oh, there was about $1.2 billion that seemed fishy over 4 different institutions that they did not bring up until he was arrested in 2019. I said $1.2 billion? It wasn't $1,000. It was, I get fraud alerts on my fucking phone at CVS when I go over $20. It's like, is this you? $1.2 billion. JP Morgan Chase and these Russian banks are like, meh.
And Lev yesterday told me, he said the reason why people might not want to get this out, in addition to the salacious names, is due to the money.
Correct.
The money will implicate a lot of powerful institutions and folks.
And I said, here's the thing. Ron Wyden said, follow the money. This is a money case. This is when you're talking about sex trafficking on the level of you're talking about a very suspicious $1.2 billion. This is a money case. It is a money case as much as it is about sex and pedophilia and, and the trafficking of underage girls. If you want to know who's involved, right? If you want to know who has had hands and eyes and their whole bodies in on this, follow the money. And the other thing that I want to know as we go into the Wall Street Journal blockbuster story that came out yesterday evening, which is, how Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in a prison right now for 20 years. Why hasn't 60 Minutes, CNN, MSNBC, why hasn't anybody rolled up on her prison cell saying, is there a list? Is there a client? Because you have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. I'm not.
That was my mom's question yesterday.
Until we're negotiating about 5-10 years off of my sentence. What am I in here for? If I'm her and cameras come to me and they say, is there a list? It says, if there isn't a list, my response, if I'm her, would be, then what am I doing in here? Then I'm ready for my appeal. Because what the fuck am I doing here if there's no list? If there's no evidence of these powerful men? So my question is, she's sitting in a jail cell. Why aren't we talking to her?
My mom was asking the question. My mom and dad were visiting yesterday, and my mom asked the same question. He goes, Ghislaine's alive. How come Ghislaine isn't speaking? Ghislaine has all the receipts. Ghislaine knows where all the bodies are buried. Ghislaine was literally the accomplice. If you look at some of these documentaries and you watch them, she was part and parcel. She brought in the girls, she brought in the clients, she traveled with them, she helped lure them in. She knows everything. How come she's quiet? Is there a sweetheart deal? Does she, has she been threatened? Danielle, like if God forbid something happens to her, does certain evidence get released? Like I'm sitting there thinking, like, there's one person who can shed light into all of this. Ghislaine, and the only person who's in jail, not Prince Andrew, not Bill Gates, not Donald Trump, not Wexler, who funded
not any of these men. Any of these men.
No men. Ghislaine.
So here's the thing. So here's where we are last night, right? Wall Street Journal drops this reporting that Donald Trump was trying to ensure that wouldn't come out, was threatening to sue. And this is what comes out. So Conway, funny, says, I'm surprised he didn't use the auto pen defense. Oh, well, live by the Sharpie, die by the Sharpie. At real Donald Trump, please, please, please sue. Go for it. Don't taco out. And so here is what they have. Wall Street Journal. The letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, is bawdy. Like others in the album, it contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. The letter concludes, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." In an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story. I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women. It's not my language. It's not my words. He told the Journal he was preparing to file a lawsuit if it published an article. I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else, he said, right? Mind you, this is whose paper?
Rupert Murdoch.
Rupert Murdoch, right? Okay. The existence of the album and the content of the birthday letters hadn't been previously reported. The album had poems, photos, and greetings from business people, academics, Epstein's former girlfriends, and childhood pals, according to the documents reviewed by the Journal and people familiar with them. Among those who submitted letters were billionaire Leslie Wexner and attorney Alan Dershowitz. The album also contained a letter from a now deceased Harvard economist, one of Epstein's report cards from Mark Twain Jr. High School in Brooklyn, and a note from a former assistant that included an acrostic with Epstein's name. Jeffrey, oh Jeffrey, everyone loves you. Fun in the sun. Fun, just for fun. Remember, don't forget me soon. Epstein, you rock. You are the best. Donald Trump's response. I leave this for you because you just do it so well.
The Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch personally were warned directly by President Donald J. Trump that the supposed letter they printed by President Trump to Epstein was a fake, and if they print it, they will be sued. Mr. Murdoch stated that he would take care of it, but obviously did not have the power to do so. The editor of the Wall Street Journal, Emma Tucker, was told directly by Caroline Leavitt and by President Trump, he's referring to himself in the third person in his note, folks, just if you will, that the letter was a fake. But Emma Tucker didn't want to hear that. Instead, they're going to, with a false, malicious, and defamatory story. Anyway, President Trump will be suing the Wall Street Journal, News Corp, and Mr. Murdoch shortly. The press has to learn to be truthful and not rely on sources that probably don't even exist. President Trump has already beaten George Stephanopoulos, ABC, 60 Minutes, CBS, and others, and looks forward to suing and holding accountable the once great Wall Street Journal. If it has truly turned out to be a, quote, disgusting and filthy, he's quoting himself apparently in his own post. Okay. And, and writing defamatory lies like this shows their desperation to remain relevant, if there were any truth at all, on the Epstein hoax as it pertains to President Trump. And on and on and on. Folks, he quotes himself. He writes about himself in third party. He prints this. He spends the entire day, according to reports, threatening Emma Tucker. He was nervous. He was panicking. We found out, because probably Wall Street Journal leaked it to media reporters, that they had this bombshell letter and they were going to publish it. And then everyone was waiting with bated breath. Well, are you going to publish it or not? And to their credit, they did. Now, as Danielle reminded you all, and you might not know this, but Danielle and I are masochists. Wall Street Journal is not a flaming lefty communist rag. It is not democracy-ish. It is not, I don't know, Stephen Colbert. Wall Street Journal is run by Rupert Murdoch, one of the great villains of the 20th and 21st centuries. It is a right-wing rag for billionaires. It is the Wall Street Journal that published this. And Wall Street Journal knows that Donald Trump would put all his sights on them, target them, sue them. So I believe two things. Two things are important here.
Mm-hmm.
The Wall Street Journal has the goods. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't risk themselves if they didn't have the letter. Number one. Number two, going back to my earlier point, who are the outlets that are being the most blunt against Donald Trump when it comes to Epstein, his kryptonite? Right-wing outlets. Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Alex Jones, even though it's not an outlet, Roseanne, Tucker Carlson, Andrew Schultz. And meanwhile, I want you to do a compare and contrast to the Democrats and the institutions. Nancy Pelosi, kitchen table issues. It's Wall Street Journal, right? Because the base, as we have said, and I think it bears reminding. Let me just connect the dots real quick. Mm-hmm. The base for the past 10 years has been radicalized by right-wing media. What they worship more than anything else is money. And at the end of the day, they have radicalized their base and created a hungry monster. And that monster has been promised for 10 years that Donald Trump, once elected, would remove the deep state. And the deep state would be exposed by revealing the Epstein files. And the deep state is part of an international cabal where all of Donald Trump's enemies, liberals, the media, the FBI, anyone and anyone, just throw them in, are part of a deep state cabal of international devil-worshipping sex traffickers who traffic children, have sex with them, and murder them. I am not making this up. This is the QAnon conspiracy that has radicalized the base. Donald Trump, right-wing media, and right-wing politicians, including the new deep state, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel, deliberately promoted this conspiracy because they said only one person can eliminate the deep state and reveal who's in the Epstein conspiracy, Donald Trump. So for 10 years, Danielle, the base was radicalized. For 10 years, the base was promised. And then they get elected. Now the deep state is MAGA. And so they gave him some chum. All right, Laura Loomer, the Liberty person, Mike Cernovich, come here. Here's a binder full of shit. Just go pose with the binders. Okay, satiated. The base was still hungry. Pam Bondi, go on TV. I have files on my desk. Okay. Now the base is getting really hungry. They haven't eaten for a while, Danielle. Kash Patel goes out and says, I've reviewed everything. He killed himself. Nothing to see here. Dan Bongino, yeah, I have to fall on my sword. Yeah, nothing to see here. Pam Bondi, nothing to see here. The base wants more. And so now there are reports of Dan Bongino leaking. Bongino and Kash Patel versus Pam Bondi. Donald Trump now, folks. The Streisand effect. You know he's rattled because he can't shut the F up. He cannot shut the F up. And so, folks, after him, threatening to sue, he decides to give more chum, but they're seeing through the bullshit. Danielle, talk about the chum he's offering.
Cotton candy, y'all. It ain't real food. So here's the thing. So now, because he has radicalized his base with conspiracies, he's weaponized conspiracies to work in his favor. Now he realizes that folks are not turning away from this story. And to Waj's point, it is the right-wing media outlets that are the ones that are carrying on about this. It isn't the other outlets. Too much to my fucking just outdoneness is the fact that So we finally see, here is the fissure. They can collapse under the pressure of their own conspiracies, right? And of Donald Trump now doing what he has done since the beginning, which is lie to everyone around them. And then when they ask real questions, say that they are weaklings, say that they are falling for a hoax, say that they are stupid. Do this now to your entire base. So he says in this post, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, you are the one that gave him the publicity. You are the one that brought Jeffrey Epstein's name into the public lexicon in 2015 when you were running against Hillary Clinton because you thought that it would be a way to bring down the Clintons because of Bill Clinton's relationship with Epstein. And so you were the one that was going on Bloomberg and CNBC and all of these places as you were running for president saying, oh my God, well, I hope information about Love Island doesn't come out because that will be bad for Clinton and it'll also be bad for Prince Andrew. Just ask him. So based on this, he says, Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury. Pay attention. Grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated by Democrats should end. Trump, we are ready to move to the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury documents, just so that you know how much of bullshit this is. No one will be fooled by this. People are asking for the release of the evidence from the Epstein investigation. The grand jury transcripts are something else entirely and would exclude almost all evidence. Do you think, Waj, that his base is going to be falling for this?
Nope. They already are calling out BS because it's the tip of the iceberg. And furthermore, he said pertinent information. What does that mean? And as other people have said, there's a lot of evidence there. FBI interviewed over 300 people. There's emails, there's photos, there's videos. Send us everything. And if you have to redact some stuff, go ahead. And if he says, I can't do that, they still won't buy it because the president, Donald Trump right now, doesn't give a shit about the Supreme Court, doesn't give a shit about district judges. When does he care about rules? He's been given expansive powers by the Supreme Court that rubber stamps everything, right? He's unleashed the National Guard to terrorize Americans. He has straight up renditioned people, right? He doesn't care. So if he wants to, him and the AG, Pam Bondi, can release this information, right? They can release some of this information to the public. They choose not to. And the reason why they choose not to is, folks, sometimes people just tell on themselves. And Donald Trump often tells on himself through his lies and his projection. It's all projection. You have seen him rattled. He is rattled. I'll give you last week. Take the DeLorean back. He should just shut the F up, but he can't. He's in that cabinet meeting. The press is there. I think it was the New York Post that asks Pam Bondi about the Epstein files. Who interrupts? Donald Trump. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, I wasn't paying attention.
Literally, your lawyer, who you deputized as your own personal lawyer, that's supposed to be the lawyer of the United States, but is now your personal attorney, is sitting next to you. What do lawyers usually say to their clients?
Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Right? That's exactly what they say.
On the tarmac, Caroline Levitt, you could tell her. Did you see her face? She was like, shut the F up. Caroline Levitt was asked, a lot by right wing. She's like, well, it's up to the president. The president posts earlier this week throwing his own base under the bus.
I got to play the clip.
Weaklings.
I got it. So, folks, I apologize again. I did this yesterday. I hate this moment. I hate this timeline for making me post and look at all of these right-wing white nationalists like incel people. But it's just to prove the point of how much things are coming undone. And this is Nick Fuentes, if you remember, had dinner with Donald Trump and Kanye West a couple of years back. He's a self-professed white nationalist, a self-professed incel. He is the one that said to women after Roe v. Wade was overturned, it is your body, my choice. This is Nick Fuentes this week.
Well, Danielle, you're forgetting Nazi.
Oh, Nazi. This week on his show. Oh, hold on 1 second, because this is important and I don't need this glitch in this moment. Give me a moment.
Even StreamYard's like, this Nazi's too much for us
anymore. Well, Fine. You don't get it anymore. Nobody should vote for Trump. Nobody should vote for Republicans. And what needs to happen next, by the way, the Republicans must be hanged in the midterms. That's what must come of this. Trump must fucking pay for this statement to say, I don't want your support anymore. Every single Trump supporter, every single Republican needs to say, okay, bet. You don't want our support? Forget about the midterms. Forget it. The 2026 midterms, it just needs to be a Democrat avalanche at this point. And that's not because I'm a Democrat. I'm not. I don't like the Democrats. I hate the Republicans more because the Republicans are traitors. Because I have voted for Republicans. I have supported Republicans, and they shit on our face.
When you lose Nazis, and I hate this timeline, Danielle. I think I said this last night.
I hate it so much.
Why do I hate this timeline so much? Donald Trump and MAG are so corrupt, so vile, so abhorrent that they have me agreeing with a Nazi.
I know.
They have me agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson when it comes to striking Iran for the sake of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
They have me agreeing with the world's worst people because they are worse than the world's worst people. And this Nazi, Nick Fuentes, now is pissed because Donald Trump called them weaklings.
Yep.
He called them his past supporters.
Yep.
He said they were falling for the bullshit.
Yep.
He mocked them. And they said, oh, you're mocking us? F you. The Kryptonite is the conspiracy that they fed and radicalized their base with. It is Frankenstein's monster. And we've been waiting 10 years. Where's the bottom? This was the bottom. Apparently,
well, it's one of the levels of hell.
What? Yeah,
I'm not
one.
quite sure.
Not but it's like you said. Like what we keep saying is this is not the haymaker, but this is like a good hook. Like they have him a little bit on the ropes, right? Now, whether or not he'll fall, whether or not they'll leave him, I don't know. But he drew some blood, and they drew blood from their own king, folks, because they were. Listen, folks, I was thinking about this. Just sit with it for a second, Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
Look how. Like we've normalized it. They call the rest of us, not just pedophiles, which is one of the worst things you could call someone, murderous pedophiles who also worship the devil and are in cahoots with an international cabal. And we just sat there and said, hee hee ha ha, both sides. Oh, look, liberals use pronouns. Ha ha ha. What are we talking about, folks? This is how you normalize nonsense. Donald Trump promoted QAnon even after the FBI said QAnon has the potential to radicalize individuals and groups, and it did. People were radicalized and killed family members. Ashley Babbitt was radicalized and showed up like a freak at the violent insurrection where she was shot in the head by a cop, okay? This is what they call us. So now sit there and think about average Americans, right? Now, I've said this before. Talked to a lot of them, traveled around America, a lot of these Trump supporters. What's scary is that they don't have horns on their head. You all think these people are evil. It's the banality of evil, which is more terrifying. Danielle and I talk about all these people who went to church. Yep. All these people went to church and then sat there and took their family to see a black man being lynched in America in the 20th century, right? So these people, they go to church, they take care of their kids, they vote Republican. For the past 10 years, they've been told that there is a cabal that is literally taking children, raping them, and killing them. And so they are like, we have to save the kids. Which is what happened at Pizzagate. A guy who showed up, Danielle, 10 years ago, he wasn't crazy. Yep. He wasn't unhinged. He literally shows up with a gun right here 20 minutes away from me in D.C. I've been to that place. And he says, where are the kids? I'm here to save the kids. So you cannot radicalize a base with that type of lie, Danielle, and then expect them just to say, well, I'm your king. They're just
going to now take your word for it because you have told them for 10 years not to take anybody's word for it, right? You have told them to be suspicious. You have told them not to believe in institutions. You have told them that there was a deep state. You have told them all of these things for 10 fucking years. And now that you are back in power, when they think that there is going to be this avalanche of information, this opening of the dam, guess what? You are now even more close to the vest because you are implicated. Because as people keep saying on social media, if Donald Trump was exonerated by anything that was inside of those files, guess what? It would be selling on Truth Social. And so just to go back to this, Donald Trump says, what does he say to the Wall Street Journal? I never draw. I don't draw anything. That's not what I do, right? So here is proof. In 2005, Trump drew pictures of the New York skyline for a charity auction. It was resold in 2017 for $30,000. Oh, well, that's just one picture. It does. Oh, but there's another one.
And another.
Oh, we've seen that there are more. And the fact is that, guess what? He does draw. And then there was, I don't use the word enigma. I've never used the word enigma, except in your book, How to Get Rich, where you said, oh, there it is, Donald Trump. This is one of those gray areas that remain an enigma. So I never draw, I never use these words. Like, stop being so absolute in your language, because there is always fucking evidence to the contrary. But what he is hoping is that no one will pay attention. He's hoping that people will just forget about it, because he said that they should forget about it. And the fact is that you keep doing shady shit like this. What else did he do this week? You're trying to stop bringing attention to something, but yet you wait 6 months to fire one of your many arch enemy, James Comey's daughter, who is the head prosecutor in the Epstein case, the Maxwell case, and just recently in the Diddy case. No one would have blinked an eyelash had he fired her in January or even in February. But you wait now until your base is demanding information, demanding the truth, demanding what you promised, and now you fire her. And I just want to give you the opportunity. Here's her letter.
Yesterday was unexpectedly my last day in office. I was summarily fired via memo from Maine Justice that did not give a reason for my termination. Every person lucky enough to work in this office constantly hears 4 words to describe our ethos: without fear or favor. Do the right thing, the right way, for the right reasons, without fear of retribution and without favor to the powerful. For the majority of my nearly 10 years in the Southern District of New York, fear was never really conceivable. We don't fear bad press. We have the luxury of exceptional security keeping us physically safe, and so long as we did our work with integrity, we would get to keep serving the public in this office. Our focus was really on acting, quote, without favor. That is, making sure people with access, money, and power were not treated differently than anyone else, and making sure this office remained separate from politics and focused only on the facts and the law. But we have entered a new phase where, quote, without fear may be a challenge. If a career prosecutor can be fired without reason, fear may seep into the decisions of those who remain. Do not let that happen. Fear is the tool of a tyrant. Wield it to suppress independent thought. Instead of fear, let this moment fuel the fire that already burns at the heart of this place. A fire of righteous indignation at abuses of power, of commitment to seek justice for victims, of dedication to truth above all else. It has been an honor to fight for those principles by your side. Mic drop. And the fact that he does it this week, Barbara Streisand effect needs to have Donald Trump's photo right next to it in the dictionary. He cannot stop himself. If I, again, am his attorney, shut the F up. Just shut the F up. He can't shut up. He can never shut up. He is projecting. He is nervous. He is scrambling. He's turning on his base. He's making wild moves. It's like a blind puncher, punching in the ring with cankles. That's Donald Trump right now. And Nancy Pelosi says, focus on bread and butter. Nancy Pelosi, I want to fire you into the sun. Like I can't anymore. They're going after Medicaid. They're going full fascist. They have friggin' ICE agents terrorizing us. They're rigging elections in Texas. They're killing people in Central Texas because they're incompetent. And then we have this type of leadership. The same Nancy Pelosi, who from her hospital bed got the votes for Jerry Connolly to be the head of oversight. You know who else threw her ring in to be the head of oversight? AOC. Danielle, can you please tell the world where Jerry Connolly is right now?
He is no dearly departed.
He died.
Dearly departed.
Yeah.
He's dead.
And Jasmine Crockett, who's supposed to be the head of communications. Can you tell them who the head of communications is?
Oh, what is her name? Dingle.
71-year-old Debbie Dingle.
Yeah. Do you know her? Have you seen her Instagram?
I've never heard a single Dingle banger in the last 6 months.
Okay, great. Yeah. But to make matters worse, also happened last night is this. CBS, this is Elizabeth Warren's post. CBS canceled Colbert's show just 3 days after Colbert called out CBS parent company Paramount for its $16 million settlement with Trump, a deal that looks like a bribery. Yep. America deserves to know if his show is canceled for political reasons. And so I want you to take a listen to Colbert. And look, here is true facts. The way corporate America works, the way that capitalism works, you can never bite the hand that feeds you. You need to be a part of the cog in the machine. You need to be happily that cog in the machine. You need to tap dance. You need to just give me the facts, but with a tinge of, doubt if it in fact involves Donald Trump or anyone powerful. And Stephen Colbert decided to do the opposite.
Parent corporation.
And so, I will just say this. What this is showing us, as I just, because folks, everybody gets so upset and rightfully so, but you have to also be grateful for what you're being shown in this moment about how the interests of all of these organizations and industries and companies are all entangled to keep you from knowing the truth.
Yep.
To keep you as undereducated, as blind, right, as possible. Because they are all in cahoots. The very powerful own the media, which owns the information that is disseminated to the people. And so anytime that those two things come in conflict with each other, what gets cut? The mouthpiece. It happened on MSNBC with Joy Reid and so many other Black women that I can name: Melissa Harris Perry, Tiffany Cross, so many others, Mehdi Hassan, right?
Katie Fang.
He chose to resign. He wasn't fired. Katie Fang, right? All of these voices that speak truth to power come in conflict with that power are disposable. And so you either, if you're going to be a part of corporate America, you have to play the game of capitalism. It is like playing Monopoly, right? A game that I actually fucking hate. Because only it is about how much you can take, how much you can get over on other people. And so that's the game. And when you decide to say, you know what, this isn't actually entertainment that I'm providing. He's not on Fox, right? He's a late night host that uses comedy as a medium for truth. And so when you say, oh, well, maybe, they can do what they did with Joy Reid. Maybe the ratings just weren't there. Folks, look at the numbers. CBS said, we're firing him purely on financial reasons. Really? Because he's the highest watched show, the highest rated show in that fucking time slot by close to 1 million viewers. So it's, folks, it's the same thing that they said with Joy. Oh, the ratings were bad. And then you pulled the ratings and you rank them across cable news. Everything is politics right now.
Can I bring the receipts? We've been talking about this for a while. Look back and see the wizards. Follow the money. Paramount controls CBS. Paramount wants to do a merger with Skydance. Skydance was Larry Ellison's company, one of these evil tech bro billionaires, by the way. Sherry Redstone of Skydance has a lot of money. But you know what she wants? More. She doesn't give an F about her legacy. She doesn't give an F about CBS News. 60 Minutes, several months ago, Bill Owens, only the third executive producer of 60 Minutes' nearly 60-year legacy, voluntarily resigned. He resigned as a protest to say, hey, folks, do not bend in or give into editorial integrity, because he was saying pressure was coming from up top to be more both sides when it comes to Trump and Israel-Palestine. So he resigns. Huge warning flag. Then the head of CBS News was forced to resign. Why? Because they didn't want to bend the knee. CBS then gets sued, is sued in this whole time by Donald Trump for billions of dollars because Elon Musk and Donald Trump didn't like a way a video was edited with Kamala Harris. Like Stephen Colbert said, total BS. They could have fought it, would have won. Instead, they went back and forth. And they said, we'll give you 20. Donald Trump says, I want $25 million and an apology. And then, if you all remember, we talked about this. CBS said $20 million. And then they settled on $16 million. All of this is political to grease the wheels for the merger. They want to placate Trump. So they're hacking away at 60 Minutes, at CBS News. They're completely destroying the Late Show. I'm old enough that I saw the first episode with Bill Murray and David Letterman. No replacement. They got rid of After Hours, the show that was on after Stephen Colbert with Taylor Tomlinson. No replacement, gutting the show. Paramount also owns what? Comedy Central. Mm-hmm. Comedy Central hosts The Daily Show. I can tell you that the reason why, what I found out from the inside, it's not really that big of a surprise, is Trevor Noah. The reason why he quit was because he felt like he was neutered and muzzled. And that was happening a couple of years ago. So you're losing Stephen Colbert. You're gutting 60 Minutes. And some people are saying, Stephen Colbert would be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine. It's not about Stephen Colbert. It's about getting rid of independent, critical media that goes against the fascist, right? Mm-hmm. ABC News could have fought the case and won, but they decided to give Donald Trump, $20 million. George Stephanopoulos wasn't wrong. He used the word rape. He could have used sexual assault. They would have won, right? CNN bent the knee, gave millions of dollars, could have fought it, could have won. Corporate media cannot be trusted.
Nope.
They're making the wrong bet.
They cannot be trusted.
They're making the wrong bet. They're betting on Donald Trump. I'm here to say that I believe the return on investment is going to be friggin' putrid, rancid, friggin' tomatoes thrown at them by the public, because this dude's old. This dude is weakening. I think the economy is going to go down. And I think 6 months from now, they're going to crawl back. But corporate media cannot be trusted, folks. And then to make it worse, what does he do yesterday? And this is what fascists do. Defunding PBS and NPR. A majority of Americans get their information from PBS and NPR. This is what Putin did. This is what Orban did. You clear the judiciary. You stack it with loyalists. I give you the Supreme Court. You go after independent media. You cull it. You go after culture. This is why they've gone after the Kennedy Center. Go after any single entity that can give you a different point of view that does not parrot the propaganda of the fascist regime. They are a threat that must be culled and eliminated. It's happening in broad daylight. And now kids will not learn from Sesame Street or Big Bird. They're going to learn from Skibbity Toilet and Kash Patel.
And here's the thing, this is what we will close out with today. This is why Waj and I have chosen to be independent, right? This is why it is so important, and we're so grateful for the contributions that you all put in to help us create the kind of content that you deserve. Waj and I both did the dance for cable news and corporate media. And what ends up coming out of it, sure, you get a little bit of money for a little bit of time, but at the end of the day, what you end up selling is your integrity. What you end up selling is your voice. And at some point in time, you make a decision. I'd rather be, I'd rather be a lowly independent voice on an independent platform that can sleep at night and look at myself in the mirror, and Waj can look at his kids and look at his family, even though, they wish he made better choices. But, but we do this because it matters to us, because the truth matters, right? And so I say to folks, who have not cut the cord yet, from corporate media, from cable news, I tell you, cut the cord,
Yep.
because they're not serving you, they are placating you. And the fact that you need to question, what am I missing here? What are they keeping out of here? What are they suppressing? And I knew that when that started happening with my mother, 2 years ago, when Israel's war and genocide on Gaza began, my mom said, something doesn't feel right here. I don't feel like they're giving us all the information on what's happening. And I watch MSNBC all day, every day, and I feel like I'm being lied to. Right?
My parents, much like your parents, my dad was telling me, he used to watch MSNBC. He used to watch CNN and MSNBC, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the past year and a half, stopped watching CNN, just watched MSNBC. Now my dad and my mom, and you would think that's the demographic that they're chasing, Danielle. My dad's like, I can't watch any of this shit. My dad says, I watch you and Danielle. I'm watching people on YouTube and Substack. I want truth tellers. I don't trust these people. They're weak. They hold their punches. I need fighters to be bold and blunt. These are my parents.
Yep.
Senior citizens in their 70s. They're like, I can't take it anymore. I was at Chautauqua Institute yesterday, 2 days ago, gave a talk. The crowd is very, upper middle class, older. I was blunt. And then I'm like, I'm just going to go there. I used the F word, fascist, talk about white supremacy. And then afterwards, these older white folks were like, you were the most blunt speaker. You said it outright. Thank you. And then I told Danielle, I messaged her yesterday. I was at the Buffalo airport trying to come home. And then this white woman, middle-aged white woman says, I know you. And I'm like, what? I see you on TV. I'm like, do you think I'm Mehdi Hassan? No. Are you Wajahat Ali? And I'm like, I am. And she had a big smile on her face. And her husband's like, she watches you every day and she watches your shows with you and Danielle. And then she's like, hey, can you take a photo with my wife? It'll make her day. So we sat there and we talked for like 5-10 minutes. She goes, I agree with most of what you say. Thank you for what you're doing. And like a couple of days earlier, I told you all, I think it was last week. Yeah, I went to Target getting something. I had to go to Target, folks. I haven't gone.
Well, I was going to say, wait, what? Where'd you go?
I had to go. I had to go get a $2 fly swatter. I couldn't find it anywhere else. So forgive me. I couldn't find it at Costco. So it's the only purchase I made at Target in the last 6 months because I'm boycotting Target. And we used to go all the time as a family. So I'm there and I'm buying some fly swatter, right? And then this lady comes and goes, do I know you? I'm like, do you think I'm Mehdi Hassan? And she goes, no, you're Wajahat Ali. And I'm like, I am. And then she comes and she gave me a hug. And she's like, thank you. And what do we do? Like, we got to do more people like you. So all I'm saying is, I appreciate all the people who watch. It's good to know that something that we've built from the grassroots is resonating, that it's growing. I appreciate the fact that people appreciate our boldness. We don't have time to waste. Because we're not corporate, because we don't take money from anyone, we can say whatever we want. And even when I was at CNN, y'all remember, I said whatever I want, which is probably why
I did the same.
I did say whatever you want. When I got invited to Aspen, I said whatever I wanted, which is probably why I never got invited back. It's all independent. Danielle started this on her YouTube show, her channel, which started last year, naturally started with 0 followers. Now she almost has 28,000. So she passed the 25,000. Now we're trying to get to 40,000. So if you're watching, please subscribe to Danielle Moody's YouTube channel. It's free. Also, if you're watching on my Substack, the Left Hook Substack is my Substack. We got Danielle on the Damn Digest. It's free, no paywalls. But since we're independent, if you have a few bucks, become a paid subscriber. I can feed my children. Danielle can get her nice coffee. And then for the folks who see these tips that come out, these wonderful tips, thank you so much, Ernest. Tina always comes in. Susan, you give us like $30 each show. Why? Why?
Susan be dropping money this week.
This money, folks, is
Ernest too.
If you're on YouTube and you look underneath the video, you'll see a circle with the ... If you click the dot, you'll see a $ with the heart. It's tips. So those tips come directly to us. Thank you so much for the super chatters and the tips. But mainly, if you can, please become subscriber. Free subscribers. It helps the algorithms. When this video is published in about a minute, like it, share it. It goes a long way. And we will be back Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Today we had to do 3 p.m. because Danielle had a doctor's appointment. But 12 p.m. Monday, we'll be back with our usual schedule. Danielle, shamelessly promote yourself and the 400 shows you host.
Yeah, folks, appreciate you, Waj, so much. You can catch the Danielle Moody Show, which is Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. You can catch me with Waj, 12 p.m. on here on Mondays and Fridays for Democracy-ish. On Wednesday, we are on our Substacks for our midweek check-in. And next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, we are doing Andor. And Superman.
And Rogue One.
Oh, and Rogue One, because I did watch Rogue One. Superman, I still got to go see. So my sister Waj said, she goes, I went to go see Superman. I guess I get why Waj wants you to see it because it's, got a message, but like, nah, that's what Nicole said to tell you. So
I could see that. There's some people who said meh, but I think you'll like the message.
But I'm going because Susan gave me all my popcorn money so that I could go see it. So I will absolutely go see it. So we got Wednesday's going to be a jam-packed show on Substack, on both of our Substacks. So please do. Oh, look. Oh, Monica went to the John Lewis Memorial Rally yesterday. We read aloud. The Boston Council resolution admonishing. Good job. And thank you for the $15.
Hey, look at S.G. Johnston. Her husband made her go see Superman.
Ha! All right. Okay. All right. I'm going.
So it's going to be Wednesday, folks. Wednesday, your assignment is see Andor. If anyone hasn't seen Rogue One, see Rogue One. Daniel also saw A New Hope and Emperor Strikes Back. It all connects. And then we're also going to talk Superman.
Yeah, I mean it's a big show. So thank you.
And
guys.
also, real quick, I'm subbing in for Mary Trump today at 6 p.m. her live show. Mary is under the weather, so I'll be on. So go to Mary Trump's from 6 to 6:45. We're gonna do a live show, unpack a lot of the news today.
And then, as always, I will have videos up all weekend long. So do make sure to check those out. And again, like, comment, and subscribe. Friends, we appreciate you. And we will see. Well, so you'll see Waj at 6 p.m. I will see you back on Monday. Be well.